Executive Chairman of the National Youth Development Agency, Yershen Pillay, is in studio with us this morning. He's just been appointed President of the Pan-African Youth Union. Pillay's election is a clear indication of confidence in South Africa to lead youth development issues on the continent. Thank you very much for coming in this morning, Yershen. What is the full implication of your appointment to this, what sounds like a very prestigious position?
Well, it certainly is a sign of confidence in the country to provide that leadership and the guidance on youth development matters. And it's really a sign of, a renewed kind of interest in youth development on the continent. But to say what should be the agenda or the program for youth development on the continent. So I think it's a great step forward for the country, for the NYDA, and the work that we've been doing over a number of years, as the Pan-African Youth Union is, of course, the apex body for national youth coordinating entities on the continent.
Well, what are your immediate priorities, continentally speaking?
Well, we've helped to shape 5, in fact, for the next year, for 2014, together with other African youth leaders in a meeting held in Dakar, Senegal, where we agreed that we've got to focus firstly on education and skills development, and we are hoping to launch an African Youth University in Namibia in 2014. But we also need to be clear on what the youth development agenda should be, and so we'll be hosting a Pan-African Youth Development Summit in Johannesburg in 2014 as well. A nice and very exciting program is an African Youth Entrepreneurship Program that we hope to support and encourage young entrepreneurs in the continent, and then provide a means of support for them. And others include really defining or developing a status of African youth report that we've commissioned as the PAYU, and various other interactions with our counterparts in Europe, etc. It's just so that we can facilitate and mainstream youth development into all aspects of society on the continent.
Our youth are in the position where they're facing issues of unemployment, poverty, lack of access to education, particularly tertiary education. Give us a sense, are those the same challenges that the rest of Africa's youth are facing?
Indeed. In fact, we often make the mistake of assuming that youth unemployment and challenges of education and skills development are unique to South Africa. They are not. In fact, many African countries face the same challenges that we do. And so having a coordinated approach to these challenges, having an apex body that could have a united voice, but also develop coordinated programs at addressing these challenges is very important. And so I think at times we need to come to the realization that as a country we've made great strides, and we need to share some of those experiences, knowledge and information, and provide the kind of leadership that other countries expect from us as it relates to youth development. So the Pan-African Youth Union really presents that opportunity to promote the kind of unity, the kind of democratic consolidation and sustainable development by ensuring that the youth voice is loud and clear.
Conversely, are you able to draw from other examples, other positive models on the continent to assist South African youth?
Indeed, we've just signed a memorandum of cooperation as the NYDA with our Namibian counterparts on national youth service, where we find, for example, that the youth service as a strategy for youth development is being employed very well in Namibia, and so they have a lot to share with us as it relates to the area of national youth service. And that's just but one example of many other memorandums of cooperation, not simply on paper, but living practical areas of cooperation that we hope to use or to develop in the near future.
Are governments in Africa buying into what you see as the solutions? Are they working closely with you, or are you sort of seen as a body that's going to try and deal with the youth problem without working very closely with government to achieve those aims?
I think over the years we've seen a sort of a renewed enthusiasm and really a lack of, a more seriousness being given to youth matters by governments across the world. And we've seen the development of the African Youth Charter. We've seen the development of national youth policies on the continent. We've seen a number of youth programs, both on the education front and entrepreneurship, being developed. And so we're really seeing more effort, more time, energy and resources being placed into matters of youth development. What we really need to do is to ensure that we have a more coordinated approach, we are more united on issues, especially on the continent, and we need to see more youth at the center of that kind of development, so that you have young people playing a leadership role whilst governments support youth to actually lead or address issues that relate to themselves.
Yershen, thanks very much for coming into studio this morning. Good luck in your new position.
Know more about your world. eNCA.com